Today we're going to be talking about animals and going to the zoo. So we have some music about animals and the zoo, a book about the zoo, and we're also going to do a craft that has to do with animals. So we're so glad that we can spend this time with you today. We're going to begin by reading a book you may have read before called Curious George Goes to the Zoo. This is George. George is a good little monkey and always very curious. Today, George was feeling very excited. The man with the yellow hat was taking him to the zoo. As they drove, the man explained to George that this wasn't just any zoo that they were going to visit. It's called the Wild Animal Park, the man said. All of the animals roam around freely. I've never been to a zoo like that. When they arrived, George saw a huge banner. George looked up at it, but he could not read the words. A friendly zookeeper explained. "It's an extra special day here at the Wild Animal Park," she said. "It's our baby rhino's first birthday. We are going to have a party for her later on." A party? This was going to be a wonderful trip to the zoo. This sign says, "Come celebrate our baby rhino's first birthday." I would love to go to baby rhino's birthday party. George tried to walk into the park where the animals were, but the zookeeper stopped him. "You can't walk in there," she said. "To explore this zoo, you have to ride in one of our special zoo cars." She pointed to a huge car that had no roof on it. No roof? Oh my, what fun this was going to be! George and his friend climbed on board and the car drove into the park. There he is, popping out the roof. Or the no roof, there's no roof. Soon, they were in the midst of the Wild Animal Park. "Look over there," said the zookeeper. "There's our pride of lions. We have a large family here." There they are. I see a little baby lion. George pointed in the other direction. "Yes, George," said the zookeeper. "I see the giraffes too. Their tall necks help them eat leaves from the treetops. And there are two ostriches running this way." George was happy to be seeing so many amazing animals. "I see those giraffes with their long necks, and I see zebras and two ostriches, and an elephant and a baby elephant, and there's the lions." The zoo car drove past a small pond. Pink flamingos waded in the water. Their heads bobbed up and down as they walked on spindly legs. "The flamingos turn pink because they eat so many tiny pink shrimp," said the zookeeper, but George was not listening. He had never seen flamingos before. That's a flamingo. I don't know if y'all have ever seen a flamingo before, but that's what they look like. Little pink birds. He was curious about how those flamingos were moving. He leaned out the back of the zoo car as far as he could to take a look. But then, oh, what happened? Uh-oh. First, George lost his balance. Then he fell, kerplunk, right out of the zoo car. His friend hadn't noticed that he had fallen. George ran as quickly as a little monkey could toward the pond. He was very curious about those flamingos. The flamingos bobbed their heads and lifted their feet one at a time. It looked like they were dancing. George danced with them. Suddenly, the water in the pond started to move. Then a hippo popped its head out from under the water. What a surprise! George stopped dancing to take a look. The hippo opened its huge mouth as if it were yawning. George opened his mouth wide too. It was fun to act like the hippo. Just then, George noticed that something was rustling in the reeds near the pond. George was curious. He wanted to see what was there. In an instant, he jumped over to the reeds. He poked his nose inside and saw a baby rhino. I wonder if it's the birthday rhino. The tiny rhino was cute, but she looked a little bit sad and a little bit lonely. I bet George could keep her company. George wanted to make that baby rhino feel happy again. He thought and thought. Maybe the baby rhino would like the flamingo dance. He jumped and bobbed his head and danced his feet up and down. The baby rhino peeked her head out of the reeds so that she could watch. George danced more, and the rhino walked out of the reeds. She was curious too. They were having so much fun that George didn't notice what was behind him. Can you see what's behind him there? Somebody's coming for him. He was not following directions. The zookeeper stomped over to George. She did not look happy. The man with the yellow hat was running behind her. "You are a naughty little monkey," said the zookeeper. "You were supposed to stay in the car. You and your friend will have to go now." George walked to the man's side. He waved goodbye to the baby rhino. The man and the zookeeper turned to see whom George was waving to. "The baby rhino? Why, we've been looking for her all day," said the zookeeper. "She got separated from her mother." George was so glad to see the zookeeper looking happy again. He and the man started walking toward the exit. The zookeeper ran to stop them. "Thank you for finding our baby rhino, George, and just in time for her birthday party. Will you join us for some cake?" I did not know rhinos had birthday cake. I bet they love cake. George jumped with glee. He had forgotten about the party, and he did love cake. Who doesn't? The man and George followed the zookeeper and the baby rhino back to the zoo headquarters. The rhino's mother was waiting there for her. They're reunited. They're so happy to see each other. The zookeeper brought out a special birthday cake that was shaped like a rhino. George had never seen a cake like that before. "You can have the first piece, George," said the zookeeper. "I also have a special treat just for you." She placed a bunch of bananas in front of him. George was very happy to have a tasty banana, but he saved room for some cake too. It looks like a fun birthday party to me. The end. Thank you for listening. We are going to the zoo tomorrow, the zoo tomorrow, the zoo tomorrow. We are going to the zoo tomorrow, and we can stay all day. We're going to the zoo, the zoo, the zoo. How about you, you, you? You can come too, too, too. We're going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. See the monkey swinging in the tree, swinging in the tree, swinging in the tree. See the monkey swinging in the tree. We can stay all day. We're going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. How about you, you, you? You can come too, too, too. Going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. See the elephant splashing in the water, splashing in the water, splashing in the water. See the elephant splashing in the water. We can stay all day. We're going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. How about you, you, you? You can come too, too, too. Going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. See the giraffe with long neck stretching, long neck stretching, long neck stretching. See the giraffe with long neck stretching. We can stay all day. We're going to the zoo, zoo, zoo. How about you, you, you? You can come too, too, too. Going to the zoo, zoo, zoo.
Okay, so today for our zoo craft or animal craft, we are going to make a bear. But your animal could really be whatever you want it to be. But Miss Lindsay and I decided today that we would like to make some bears. So everybody's going to start with a paper plate and your favorite marker that you want to use to color your bear. So if you want a pink bear, you can have a pink bear. It looks like Miss Lindsay has a brown crayon, which is the color of some bears. You might want a yellow bear. I am going to ask Miss Lindsay if I can have a black crayon because I would like to make a black bear. Okay. So you're going to start by coloring your whole circle. So you can color it all the way in, you can color it just a little bit. There are really all kinds of types of bears. In Memphis, there's a really popular bear called a grizzly bear. It's not really the kind of bear that lives in the forest. It's a bear that plays basketball. But then there are other kinds of bears too. So you use your crayon and color in your bear. So you might take a little bit more time to color in your bear if you want the whole thing to be one color. Or you might just take a little bit of time. Okay. Now, after you've colored your plate for your bear, the next thing that you're going to need are these wiggly eyes or craft eyes, or if you don't have these in your house or apartment or in your hospital room, then you could just use circles, or you could even use your crayon or your marker to draw your eyes. So today we're going to use these wiggly eyes. So you're going to need a little bit of tape or glue. Don't know. Our tape is hiding today, friends.
Found it. Okay, here you go.
Thank you. So you'll need 2 pieces of tape because you're going to have 2 eyes. So I'm going to put my eyes close to the top of my plate. But you can really put your eyes wherever you want. Most bears, their eyes are on the top. Kind of like our eyes are right here on our face. Okay. Oh, very good, Miss Lindsay. Okay. So now that you have your bear face and your bear eyes, this bear needs something else. Maybe a nose and a mouth. So you're going to need an extra big circle. You can cut this out with your parent or your caregiver, and you can use scissors. You could make it brown, you could make it black, you could even make it a pink nose if you wanted to. So you're going to tape your nose on the front of your bear's face. Kind of just looks like a really big funny nose. He needs one more thing on his nose to really have a nose and a mouth. What do you think it is, Miss Lindsay?
Maybe some whiskers and a little nose.
Okay. So I'm going to use a triangle shape.
I'm going to use a circular shape.
Really can make your nose look however you want. So I did a triangle, so 1, 2, 3 sides, and 2 little whiskers.
So I did a circle, and I'm going to add 3 lines to make a mouth.
Very cool. All right, then how do we listen? We use our ears. So now this bear needs some ears so he can hear us. So we're going to take 2 more brown circles, and with your same tape, or you could even use a stapler, we're going to attach it to your plate. I'm going to use the stapler, Miss Lindsay, because that's what I have.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So there's your bear.
Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, everyone. It's time to say goodbye. See you later, everyone. See you later, everyone. See you
later, everyone. It's time